tucked into a small area of town that if you blink, you'll miss it. A new park in the city of Pulaski, Tennessee holds an important legacy. But before I tell you the what, it's important that you understand the why. In 2020 in Pulaski, Tennessee, you could feel a true tension in the air. Not only was the country and the world dealing with a pandemic, but we also had the death of George Floyd that had made many towns across the country ask important questions about their identity. Pulaski, steeped in Civil War history, I've mentioned iconic people like Sam Davis, who was hanged in the city for refusing to give up his comrades, but also things like the founding of the KKK, a dark chapter that continues to stain the reputation of the town to this day, despite the best efforts of the townspeople. In 2020, a unity march was held with its purpose really unknown. They said they wanted to do a lot of things. They wanted to focus on the racism that existed in the town. They wanted to tear down the statue, wanted to rename Sam Davis Park. Kind of all of the above. And they had not counted on so many counter-protesters. Really, the vision of whatever they were hoping to accomplish seemingly was skewed.
Ashton, it's the Sam Davis statue that people are upset about. I'm here only seeing what's right, doing what's right, but I'm just here, basically they were doing Black Lives Matter, trying to explain the Black Lives Matter, and some people don't like to explain that, but that's basically what the march was about, and I think Keith was trying to tackle racism in this town, and I think one of the things he brought up was the statue, and
That's the statue?
Yeah, that's the statue.
I never knew we had one.
We knew that we weren't going to tear down the flag. I mean, not the flag, but the Confederate statue. That was not going to be torn down. We don't have the streets named after us. We don't have things named after us. So that was what I was hoping, that we would get more things that the African American community would be proud of, and be proud to say, yes, I really do live in Pulaski. And not all that stuff goes on here every day like people think.
So rather than tear down history, a bipartisan committee came together to focus on highlighting underrepresented areas of Pulaski's history, namely from African American and other people of color that make up the tapestry of this town. The first area they wanted to highlight was the role of the U.S. colored troops in the Civil War. The U.S. colored troops had served with distinction, many from Tennessee, Alabama, and neighboring Mississippi. They had come to Pulaski mostly in a guard role, guarding the town and also railroad lines all the way into Alabama. This would be a time to tell their story. Spearheading this effort would be lifelong educator Miss Vivian Sims, who in her mid-90s was as spry and sharp as ever. It had long been her goal and vision to highlight the important role that these troops played. The decision was made to honor these soldiers through a bronze statue which would be 100% paid for by Miss Sims. Local award-winning artist Pamela Sue Keller would be chosen to bring this dream to life. A local would also serve as the model for the bronze statue. And throughout, Pamela would keep the public interested in seeing the importance to detail that she cared about this statue. The town really got excited about it. So where do you put it? Well, on the north end of town was kind of a neglected park. A park that had played an important role, though, for the African American community within Pulaski. In fact, it was the water source for many African Americans back during the time of the Civil War and even beyond. So the new name for this park that would have this great statue honoring the U.S. colored troops, the 110th, would be Heritage Plaza. And this is the first of the new monuments that are going in, the first of many. And this whole effort was a true labor of love. Of course, we said the statue itself was paid for by Miss Vivian Sims. The historical placards were provided through various grants, including the Eli Lilly Foundation. And we'll talk about why that is here in just a second. Miss Sims, as I talked about earlier, who was really the spearhead of this project, 47 years as an educator, married to an educator, born and raised in New York City. She moved back to the South in the 1950s, paid $82,000 of her own money to memorialize these troops that she had not heard about till she was well into her 80s. But that's how much it meant to her. And the statue itself, does it have a name? It does. It's called the Resurrection of Valor. And it was so important for Miss Sims to see this realized. I mentioned earlier that the Eli Lilly Company had actually given a significant gift for this historical marker, and it's because of the tie-in with their namesake. Eli Lilly was the major over this regiment of troops that mainly tussled with Nathan Bedford Forrest. The fort was named in his honor, Fort Lilly, which would have been just above us here on the hill that we see right now. Of course, it's an empty, vacant field now, but back during the time of the Civil War, this was where the U.S. colored troops were housed. The officers were a couple blocks away in homes, but it all happened right here.
Your journey is somewhat a vague and untold story, how you gained the Civil War's honor and glory. From field hands to picking cotton, a tale of events almost forgotten, men of blue. Your faith and convictions sustained you through the woes of slavery, to die on the battlefield displaying ultimate bravery, men of blue. You fought as contraband, slaves, and some men free, to pay the price of freedom for your family and me. You may have been forgotten on some of history's pages, but you remain on our hearts and minds for ceaseless ages, men of blue. In fighting combat, sometimes hand to hand, many of you grew quickly from a boy to a man. You often saw your enemies, even eye to eye. The lives that were lost makes my soul cry. We honor you through the footsteps you trod, through the agony, bloodshed, and sod. Out of bondage became a battalion of men, for while we pay homage to them over and over again, men of blue.
Wow, what a crowd. Good morning. Or is it afternoon? I have been given a lot of honors that I don't deserve. You can't do this all by yourself. You have to have help. And the first person who helped me was God Almighty. I couldn't have done this unless God had given me the power, the thoughts, and the finances. I knew that there was something I was yet to do. I am 94 years old, to be 95 in September. And I still have a lot to do.
What a lady. And just like Miss Vivian said, we all have a lot to do. Get out and find the history in your area. It's around every corner. Thanks for watching.